Hello students, in previous class we discussed about the determinants of supply curve. In that we discussed technological progress and also we discussed about the input prices. So because of these things only we can observe the changes in the quantity of supply. If the technological progress is good, that time the supply curve will shift rightward. If the technological progress is not good, that means the technology is not modernization. Still we are using old technology. That time the supply curve will shift leftward. As like as we discussed about input prices. So when the price of inputs like electricity, transportation cost, even raw materials, even wages of labor, the price it will be increased. That time the supply will be less. That time the supply curve will shift leftward. If the price of these things like electricity, raw materials, transportation cost, labors like rent, wages, everything it will be the less. That time the supply curve shift will be right because supply will be more. If the prices of inputs will be increased, supply curve will be shift leftward. If the price of inputs is decreased, supply curve will shift rightward. Okay, next is market supply curve. Another important concept for 6 marks. Very important, market supply curve. So market supply curve shows the output levels. Market supply curve shows the output levels that firms in the market. Firms means all the firms in the market producing aggregate corresponding to different values. Aggregate corresponding to different values of the market price. Different values of the market price. That means at different prices produced by all the firms. At different prices produced by all the firms in the market, what is the quantity of supply? What is the quantity of supply? Clear? Market supply curve shows the output level that firms in the market produce in aggregate corresponding to different values of the market price at different prices. At different prices, all the firms in the market, how much quantity they produced. How much quantity they produce and supply in the market. That is only showed by the market supply curve. Clear? Market supply curve shows the quantity of supplied by all the firms in the market. Quantity of supply by all the firms in the market. That is called only market supply curve. At different prices, how much quantity they produced and they are ready for supply in the market by all the firms. That is called only market supply curve. A single firm, it shows the quantity of supply at different prices. That is individual curve. If all the firms shows the quantity of supply in the market, that is called only market supply curve. Okay. How we can understand this one? By adding the individual supply curve. By adding the individual supply curve, we can get market individual curve. Like market supply curve. Okay. If we adding the individual supply curve, we can get market supply curve. Okay. Market supply curve shows the quantity of commodity supplied by all the firms in the market. Quantity of supplied by all the firms in the market. Okay. So here we have to discuss. Here you have to observe here. There are two firms. Just imagination. There are two firms. This is one firm. This second firm. This is firm 1, firm 2. Imagination. Firm 1, firm 2. So these two firms having a different cost structure. You have to understand. This is firm 1. This is firm 2. You have to understand in this diagram. This is OX. Okay. On the OX axis we mentioned the quantity of output. Quantity of output. Okay. This is price. This is OY. This is price line. That is on the OY axis we measured the price. That is vertical. On the horizontal line we measured the quantity. That is OX. Quantity that is Q3, Q4, Q5. Okay. Q3, Q4, Q5. Here price is P1, P2, P3. So this is the supply curve. S1, S2, SM. SM is market supply curve. SM is a market supply curve. Here the firm 1 supply curve is S1. The firm's supply curve is, the firm's 2 supply curve is S2. The market supply curve is SM. You have to understand. Here there are two cost structures. that is two firms, firm 1, firm 2. Firm 1, firm 2, this is the supply curve, this is the supply curve, you have to understand. Okay, firm 1 will not produce anything, firm 1 will not produce anything if the market price is less than P bar 1. We can mention like P bar 1, this is P1 only, but we can understand P bar 1. The firm 1 is not produce anything if the price is P bar 1 or P1. If the price is less than P1, if the price is less than P1, you have to understand the firm will not produce anything. This firm will not produce anything if the price is less than the P1. If the price is less than the P1, this is the price line. When the price is less than P1, that time the firm is not ready to produce anything. Okay, you have to understand here. As this is firm 2. This is the firm 2. Even firm 2 will not produce anything. The firm 2 will not produce anything if the market price is less than P2. If the market price is less than P2, that is also we can understand P bar 2. P bar 2. You have to understand this is firm 1, this is firm 2. That is Q3, Q4. This is the market supply. Okay, the firm 1 will not ready to produce anything below the P1. The price is below the P1. The firm will not ready to produce anything, any amount of the goods and services. As the firm 2 will not produce any goods and services below the price P2. Below the price P2. Why? Because if the firms will produce below the price 2 and below the price 1, they will get loss. Okay, we have to assume that P2 is the greater than P1. P2 is the greater than P1. You have to assume that. Okay, in the diagram, firm 1 supply curve shows that is denoted S1. The firm 1 supply curve denoted by S1. The firm 2 supply curve denoted by S2. Okay, and the market supply curve is denoted by Sm. The market supply curve denoted by Sm. The firm 1 supply curve denoted by S1, the firm 2 supply curve denoted by S2, the market supply curve denoted by S. Right? So when the market price is below the P1, both firms choose not to produce any amount of goods and services. You can observe here. Okay, at the price P1, this is also not ready to produce. Even when the price is P2, here also not ready to produce any goods and services. You have to understand. Okay, below this, see below this and below this, any firm not ready to produce goods and services. We can observe from firm 1 and firm 2. Hence, the market supply curve is 0. The market supply curve is 0. That is the market supply quantity is 0. You can observe here. This is the market supply curve. The quantity is 0. You have to observe here. Okay, the market supply quantity is 0. This is also 0. This is also 0. If the P1 below the P1, this is the 0. If the P2, this is the 0. If the market supply curve, that is also 0. When the below the price is P2 and below the price Q, you have to understand here. This is the 0. Okay, this is the 0. When the price P1, this is the 0. When the price P2, that is also 0. When the market supply is, that is 0. When the price is below P1, the quantity is 0. When the price is below P1, that time market supply is 0. Even firms 1 supply is 0. When the price is below the P2, even firms 2 supply also 0. So when both are 0, even for market supply curve also 0. Market supply curve also, like market supply, the market quantity also, market supply quantity also 0. Because when individual curve not produce anything, that time you cannot get which one? Market supply curve. So market supply is a addition, that is a add. For example, firm 1 quantity is 20, firm 2 quantity is 30. The market supply curve is 50. The quantity is 50. You have to understand, that is 20 plus 30 equals 50. This is the because this is the market supply curve. This is the individual firm 1, firm 2, as so on. Okay, up to n number of firms. When the addition adding to all quantities, what we can get, that is called only market supply curve. That is called only market supply curve. You have to understand here, for a market price greater than or equal to the P1, the less than the P2. Okay, less than the P2 and less than P1, less than the P2 and less than P1, only firm 1 will produce a positive amount of the crude. Okay, if above the P1, firm 1 will produce. If the above the P2, that time only firm 2 will produce goods and services. Therefore, in the range of this one, the market supply curve coincides with the supply curve. Above the P1 and above P2, you have to observe above the P1 and below the P2. Above the P1 and below the P2, the market supply curve coincides with the supply curve of firm 1. You can observe. See, this is price 1, firm 1, this is price 2, that is firm 2. Just coincide. Okay, if it is above them, that time it will produce. But below the P1, it will not produce anything. You have to understand, below the price 1, below the price 2, that is P1 and P2, now any firm not able to produce goods and services. For a market price that is greater than or equal to P2, greater than or equal to P2. You have to understand greater than equal, that is greater than or equal to P2. Both firms will have a positive output. In this situation, the output is, you can understand Q3. You have to understand here. Okay, at the price P3, firm 1 quantity is Q3. At the price is P3, the firm's quantity is Q4. Firm 2's quantity is Q4. At the price P3, the firm's market supply quantity is Q5. Okay, at the price P2, that is nothing, because the supply curve will not touch here. Here only it will touch. See, here. But here not possible. So when at the price of P3 only, the individual supply will be increased. You have to understand here. Assume that when the market price is P3, that is greater than the P2. When the market price is P3, that is greater than the P2. And in this situation, the firm 1 supplies Q3 at this situation, at the price of P3. And firm 2 supplies Q4 and market supply is Q5. Anyhow, we can get market supply. We can get the market supply, that is by horizontal summation of S1 and S2. Horizontal summation of S1 plus S2. That is, for example, S1 is 10, S2 is 10. That time 20. This is firm 1, this is firm 2, this is market supply curve. By making horizontal summation, we can get market supply curve. Below P1 and below P2, the firm 1 and firm 2 not produce anything. At the price of 3, the firm 1 is producing Q3 quantity, the firm 2 is producing Q4 quantity. That's why we can get quantity of Q5, that is Q3 plus Q4. Okay, Q5 equals Q5 equals Q3 plus Q4. Okay, Q3 plus Q4. Adding this only we can get quantity 5, that is SM curve. SM is market supply. By adding individual supply curve only, we can get the market supply curve. Okay, understand clearly? By adding this only, we can get market supply curve. Once again, repeat here. You have to observe here. This is firm 1. This is firm 2 supply curve. The quantity is 10, 20, 30, 50. This is the quantity 30, 10. Okay. This is market supply SM. 10 plus 20, 30, 30 plus 10, 40. So by adding the horizontal summation, by adding the firm 1 and firm 2 quantity, we can get market supply curve. Okay, this is the quantity of market supply curve. You have to understand, below the price P1, the firm will not produce anything. Which one? The firm 1 will not produce anything. At the P2, price P2, the firm, which one? The firm 2 will not produce anything. The firm 2 will not produce anything. Right? but at the price is P2, that is greater than the P1, that time only that coincide, this is the coincide of market supply, at the price P3. You can observe here, even at the price of P3, the supply of the firm 1 is Q3 quantity, and the firm 2 quantity supply is, that is Q4 quantity 4, and the market supply curve is Q5. The Q5 how we can get? See, Q5 we can get, that is Q3 plus Q4. So this is the market supply curve, and this is very important for 6 marks. Very important for 6 marks. Dear students, this is the last topic of this chapter, that is price elasticity of supply. Price elasticity. Elasticity means which is contrast and which is the expansion, which is the expand, which is the contrast. That is only elasticity. You know that very well. It can expand, it can contrast. That is price elasticity of supply. Price elasticity of supply. That means if a changing price brings changes in the quantity of supply. You have to understand. If there is a changes in price, definitely it will bring changes in the quantity of supply. As you know that the law of supply is, when the price increase, quantity of supply also increase. When the price decrease, quantity of supply also decrease. You have to understand, when the price increase, supply also increase. When the price decrease, supply also decrease. You have to understand. The supply is increasing because of the quantity of supply increasing because of changes in price. The quantity of supply is decreasing because of changes in price. That is only price elasticity of supply. Price elasticity of supply. Elasticity means which expansion or which expand and which is contrast. Because of changes in price, definitely there will be changes in the supply. Okay. In other words, you can say like that. That is elasticity of supply refers to the response of quantity of supplied, response of the quantity supplied to change in price level. What is the response of supply to the change in quantity, like price, to change in the price? If the price increase, supply also increase. How much it will increase? If the price increase, supply also increase. If the price decrease, supply also decrease. How much? To know that, we have to study about the price elasticity of supply. Price elasticity of supply. Elasticity of supply refers to the, price elasticity of supply refers to the responsiveness of the supply to the change in price. Responsiveness of the supply, quantity supply, change in the price level. In other words, the price elasticity of supply of a good measures the responsiveness of quantity. The responsiveness of quantity is supplied to change in the price of good. To change in the price of good. Sometimes, if the small changes in price, definitely there will be lot of or more changes in the supply, quantity of supply. Okay, if the price is increased, there will be supply also increase. If the price is decreased, supply also decrease. You have to understand, price elasticity of supply is defined as, that is the ratio of proportionate change in the supply to the proportionate change in the price. Proportionate, that is percentage change in the quantity supplied because of percentage change in the price. Okay, how much change in price? Definitely there will be change in price. When the price changes, supply also changes. That is how much, whether increase or decrease. If the price increase, supply also increase. If the price decrease, supply also decrease. How much? To understand, to know that, we have to study about the price elasticity of supply. The formula to calculate the price elasticity of supply here, ES. The price elasticity of supply denoted by ES. Elasticity of supply. ES. The price elasticity of supply is denoted by ES. ES means elasticity of supply. How we can identify? That is percentage changes in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price. In symbolically or algebraically we can expand. That is delta Q divided by delta Q, like Q divided, that is delta Q divided by Q into 100. Delta Q divided by Q into 100 here. Delta Q means changes in quantity. Changes in quantity, as like as delta P divided by P into 100. Delta P means changes in price. Okay, changes in price, this is original price. Changes in quantity, this is the original quantity. Right? Equals delta Q divided by Q into P by delta P. Delta means changes. Delta P changes in price. Delta Q changes in quantity. How we can identify? That is percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price. That is delta Q divided by, see, delta Q divided by delta P into P by Q. Clear? Delta Q divided by delta P. Okay? Into P by Q. Otherwise, delta Q by P into Q, that is delta P. Changes in quantity supplied because of changes in the price. You have to understand price elasticity of supply. It means changes in supply due to changes in the price. Changes in supply due to changes in the price. Definitely when the price increase, supply also increase. When the price decrease, supply also decrease. The quantity of supply also decrease. But how much will be decreased, how much will be increased, that is only we can understand with the help of this formula. Through this formula only we can identify how much price increases, how much response in the quantity of supply. How much price decreases, how much quantity supply is response. That is only we can understand with the help of this formula. That is elasticity of supply. The price elasticity of supply refers to the change in the supply due to the change in price. Change in the supply due to the change in price. That is only we can understand with the help of formula. Percentage change in quantity supply divided by percentage change in price. Is clear? That is, if changes in price, brings change in the supply of product. Okay, changes in the price brings changes in the supply of the quantity of the supply. Quantity of the supply. Sometimes if the price decrease, supply will be completely less or little bit less or more less. If the price is increased, supply also more increase or little increase or middle level increase. Okay, there will be changes in the quantity of supply. There will be changes in the quantity of supply because of changes in the price. Price is independent, supply is dependent. Don't forget, price is independent, supply is dependent. If the price increase, supply will be increased. If the price decrease, supply also decrease. It cannot increase when the price supply increase, price also increase. This is wrong. When the price increase, supply also increase. When the price decrease, supply also decrease. That is, there is a price and supply. There is a positive relationship between price and supply. Positive plus positive relationship, because when the price increase, supply also increase. That's why there is a positive relationship between price and supply. Even for demand, negative, because when the price increase, demand will be decrease. When the price decrease, demand will be increase. That's why this is negative relationship between price and demand. Okay, but there is a positive relationship between price and supply. Here we are discussing about price elasticity of supply. That means changes in the quantity of supply due to changes in price. Due to changes in the price, the quantity of supply will be increase or decrease because of changes in the price. But how much changes, that is we can identify with the help of this formula. That is, ES means the elasticity of supply denoted by ES, that is percentage change in quantity of supply divided by percentage change in price. That is the formula delta Q by Q into 100 divided by delta P by P into 100. Here delta Q changes in quantity, delta P changes in price. Okay, delta Q divided by Q into P by delta P. Okay, this is the original quantity, this is the changes quantity, this is the original price, this is changes in the price. Okay, how much change we can use, we can understand with the help of this formula. It will come for 2 marks. Okay, give the meaning of price elasticity of supply with the help of formula. This will come for 2 marks. Okay, up to this 4th chapter of microeconomics. Okay, the theory of a firm under the perfect computation. The theory of a firm under the perfect computation. Okay, from tomorrow onwards I will give notes. Okay, up to this 4th chapter. The theory of firm under the perfect computation. Don't forget the theory of the firm under perfect computation up to this. Thank you.